Hello there, and welcome to a very special edition of Mullooly Matters, the podcast brought to you by Ciaran Mullooly MEP. This week we are joined by Ciaran in the first of a series of episodes on the housing crisis in the EU. So you're very welcome, Ciaran.
Thank you very much, Owen.
First question, so you're bringing a very high profile group of commentators and guests to Galway City for a summit on the housing crisis in association with Renew Europe. On December the 11th and the 12th.
That's right.
Why did you pick Galway for this?
Yeah, good question. I mean, Galway City own a vast population, growing all the time, and we've learned in recent months that there are now over 4,000 people in Galway on the housing waiting list. So no more than other parts of Europe, like Brussels here and elsewhere, it's a big issue. And I had a couple of opportunities to visit the city recently, and I said to myself, you know what? We need a special focus on the requirements of Galway. So we're bringing this event. We're really hoping that it's going to highlight the need for more houses in Galway and maybe look at some of the ways or techniques we can use to actually provide them.
And in terms of the structure of the event, how is it structured in Galway? Is it just for the elites of the housing sector, I suppose, or for...
No, not at all. In fact, if anything, I'm hoping that anybody who's on that housing waiting list could attend part of the event. So it's in two legs. It's a summit on housing in many respects. On Thursday the 11th, we kick off matters at the Westside Community Centre, which is on the Seamus Quirk Road in Galway. Busy local community there. We're in the practice room on that evening from 5:30 to 7:30. And the focus there will be mainly on providing information to people who need a house. People who are on the waiting list, maybe people who are trying to build a house or rent a house. Anybody who hasn't got a roof over their head is welcome to come along. We'll have a panel of various people in that room, all around the side of the room, able to do one-to-one discussions, chat with people, go over the schemes, the forms, filling up the money. We're glad to have the credit unions. I'm delighted to say the credit unions of Galway are joining us. The Clara Credit Union and St. Columba's, and indeed the credit union movement are with us on that evening as well. So they'll be there to give hands-on advice on saving and mortgages. Then the following day, on Friday the 12th, we move to Knocknacarra, to the community centre there, and another busy local community, and a slightly different format. We're going to look at the strategy and the policies of housing on that day. We're going to have a debate about the type of house we're building, the need for new technology, the need for new innovation. We've all heard recently about those houses, the cabins at the back of the house and the lawn, that sort of thing. But let's look at the policy in general, what Galway needs to do and the west of Ireland needs to do to catch up with those housing demands. So that's on the Friday morning, the 12th. That's in Knocknacarra, down there beside Capra Park and Lismore Road. And that's from 9:30 in the morning until 2 o'clock on the Friday.
Very interesting topics indeed. And what about the speakers who are coming? Who will be speaking at this event then on the Friday?
Yeah, we're still putting together the agenda for it all, but we're really pleased with the lineup we have. I'm very fortunate to have Carol Talon, a top-class property journalist, working on this with me, and indeed Carol will chair many of the debates and she'll be involved in part of it. Carol has been asked, I suppose, to focus on the issues that are important to Galway housing. You know, what are the issues that could make differences in terms of, is it rezoning? Is it the provision of water and wastewater services? Is it the issue of finance? Is it more funding for the West? Is it student accommodation? Is it accommodation for people with disability? So Carol's going to go through all that. We have a couple of surprise guests. We're hoping to have Pat McDonough with us from the Supermax businessman with us over the course of the 2 days. Well, Pat has had some experience himself in recent times of the housing situation in Galway. Remember, he has a considerable amount of retail property in the city, including one property in Eyre Square. I understand in recent times the planning application was made to extend accommodation over the shop, so to speak, which hasn't been successful at this stage. We're going to talk to Pat about that situation, because that's one of the ideas people were bringing to this new debate about housing, building over the shop home. That's something that wasn't looked at before. So Pat's going to give us an insight on that. We have a big panel which we'll be announcing over the course of the coming weeks. As we go into Christmas like everybody else, we're getting the panel together. It's going to be a busy shopping weekend in Galway as well, I'm sure, the 11th to the 12th, but we're hoping people will join us at either of the centres, in Westside on the Thursday evening or in Knocknacarra on the Friday.
And you were mentioning there about Galway, the issues facing Galway and the housing crisis there. You have been in discussion with Galway City Council in recent times as well about this. What actions are they taking at the moment, can you see?
That's right. I was very happy to welcome a team. The top team of management from Galway City Council came here to the Parliament in Brussels only a few weeks ago. We had a full discussion on with regard to the type of initiative they want to get behind. The Galway City manager was very clear about this. Leonard came into me and said very straightforwardly, I need to get more water and wastewater provision investment on one side of the city in particular. That's out near the Galway Clinic. that area. He's focused on that. The land is there. He's saying we can build more houses, but we need water and wastewater out there. And clearly that's a huge issue. It's an issue for the Irish government, and it's also an issue for Europe, because European funding goes into many of these projects as well. So we're going to focus on that in our conference, in our summit in Galway, and we're going to look at the demands that Galway has that other parts of the country don't have.
Very interesting things. And finally, to sum it all up, who do you want to be seeing attending the summit? Who should attend?
Yeah, listen, we really want this to be a broad church. So on the Thursday evening, I'm appealing to people, anyone in the Westside area, anyone in the busy suburbs of the city down there who is looking for a house, who's on the waiting list, or is wanting to building their own, who's trying to rent a house. Come on down to the Westside Community Centre. We're in the practice room on the Thursday evening from 5:30 to 7:30, and we're going to have all these experts there. It's one-to-one. There'll be a couple of informal speeches, not too many, more so, and that's something we're going to focus on helping you in terms of advice, how to get a house, how to get on the waiting list, how to get involved in a scheme, perhaps to maybe bring on some more funding for a project or things like that. So it's an open invitation to anyone. On Friday, if you're involved in the industry, as in a builder, construction firm, you're involved in windows, doors, anything to do with the housing sector at all, you're particularly welcome. Mind you, everybody's welcome. It's on all day Friday. That's at Knocknacarra in the big community centre there. We've got a great panel of guests from 9:30 in the morning till 2 o'clock. And I say we're really looking forward to attending. And I hope as well, Owen, thanks to Renew Ireland, we'll be bringing back those stories here to the European Parliament and to our audience, and maybe talking to some of our colleagues from other European countries to share our stories and see where there are common issues over the coming weeks, because we're delighted to announce that we're hoping to bring back a series of up to 4 to 6 podcasts from the event in Galway, and then interact with many of our colleagues here in Europe to, I suppose, share our problems. A problem shared is a problem halved, so they say, and to share and look how we can work together here in the Parliament in terms of policy in the future to try and deal with the housing crisis. I know how the housing crisis is causing chaos. Every time I go home, I meet people in my own family who are commuting huge distances, cannot afford a house in Dublin, cannot afford a house in Galway, and they have huge issues there. It's my job as an MEP to work on policy that can change that. It won't change overnight. We're not going to change anything dramatically. Our government at home in Ireland has their own plans. The European Commission has its own plans. And in fact, this is why we're doing it at this particular time, because the European Housing Commissioner, Dan Jorgensen, is coming out with his own special task force plan on the 18th of December. So we get a chance to talk about the issues first in Galway on the 11th and the 12th, and then the Commissioner will publish his report. There will be a lot of stuff in that which will be relevant to Galway and to the West and to the Midlands, my constituency. So the timing is excellent. It's time we helped people with practical suggestions and good policies going forward. And that's why I'm looking forward to taking part in the podcast with yourself.
Yeah, excellent timing, as you said, the 11th and the 12th of December, just before Jorgensen's report is released.
That's right. And it's an exciting time. He was with us in the Parliament only recently, and he talks about some of the things that may or may not change. For instance, and I can tell this to people watching, he's more or less ruled out that we're going to have a ban on short-term lettings. A lot of people have been on to me from Galway, from out Connemara country in particular, in West Galway, saying to me we need to stop these Airbnbs. Yes. And that is, he's much as said Europe is not going to do that. He's going to leave it to each country to deal with through their own laws. That's one of the areas that's in our focus. But there's a lot of other stuff coming down the line in terms of complicated financial issues, legal aid, and a really important piece of legislation I hope will look at vulture funds. Mm-hmm. Vulture funds are causing chaos in many parts of my constituency. They're coming in, buying up significant housing developments, and as a result the price is going up and going up and going up, and that's not good for people in Ireland. So the timing is excellent. These are really important issues for our constituency, and I'm looking forward to kick-starting the debate in Galway.
Exactly, and I've no doubt that people who are being affected by these issues will want to hear from an MEP, will want their issues projected in Brussels as well.
This is their chance. This is their chance. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm a policy maker. I'm a co-legislator here in this Parliament, so we will get a chance to. I want to hear ideas from Galway. I want people from the construction sector to come in on the Friday to stand up and give us their ideas, but equally so on the Thursday evening in Westside. I want to hear from people who are trying to rent a house, or they're trying to build a house for the first time, and I want to get a feel, I suppose, for what they want prioritised. What do you want me to do in the European Parliament on housing? Like, I'm always amused on when people say that Europe has nothing to do with housing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, people say some say, it's a competency of the member state, of the Irish government. And I say, well, are you sure about that? And they say, well, what do you mean? And I say, well, look at one of the most significant things that's happened in housing in recent years in Ireland. That was the introduction of the new BER energy ratings for houses. You can't sell or buy a house in Ireland without a BER rating on it. Where did the legislation come from? Europe. It's European legislation sent back to the Dáil, approved by the Dáil. And I can tell you, after Commissioner Jorgensen has done his report, I think we're going to have more of that. We're going to have more measures aimed at, environmentally friendly measures, aimed at accessibility, aimed at key areas of skills and training apprentices for the housing sector. They're all going to emerge, I think, from that bill. And that's why I'm looking forward to the debate in Galway and looking forward to your podcast afterwards as well.
Indeed, it's never let it be said that Europe can have no impact on housing in Ireland.
Absolutely.
So ahead of our housing event then on the 10th and the 11th and the 12th rather of December in Galway, brought to you in association with Renew Europe, of course, we are happy to have this new podcast series as well, which will outline the different issues that people bring to the fore as well. Thank you very much for joining us, Ciaran, for the special episode of Mullooly Matters.
Delighted to be here, Owen. I want to thank the Renew Group in the European Parliament for supporting these podcasts. You're going to hear real-life stories from people in Galway and elsewhere in Europe over the coming weeks, and it's great to take part in the programme. Thank you for joining us this week.
Thank you very much.